Well, holy smokers, this ain't no joker. Something happened this weekend that I was like, I've gotta talk about this on the channel, because this guy just threw away nearly $500 million, literally. If you don't know this guy on your screen right now, his name is Andrew Luck, and I was like, I've gotta talk about this. This is crazy. This is crazy, okay? So if you don't know who this Andrew Luck guy is, he's basically a quarterback in the National Football League, all right? This guy was drafted #1 overall in the draft, which is like a huge accomplishment in itself. That means like you're expected to be like the best player in your class, okay? When you go #1 pick, like that's like crazy, okay? This guy was a 4-time Pro Bowl selection, which basically means like you're one of the best people at your position in the entire league. And he was just respected as one of the best players at his position in the entire world, okay? And so needless to say, when a guy like this retires, it's a massive, massive deal when you're one of the best. But it's not just because he retired, okay? So, you know, like people retire all the time from the NFL, okay? It's no big deal. But this guy was 29 years old, okay? He was 29 years old. He's born the same year I was born, okay? He's 29 years old, and he plays the quarterback position. Now, why is this a big deal that he plays the quarterback position and he retired at this age? Needless to say, people that play that position a lot of times can play into their late 30s, if not their 40s, okay? 3 of the top 5 most respected quarterbacks in the league as of right now are over the age of 37, okay? One's 37 years old, Phillip Rivers. Another one, Drew Brees, is 40 years old. And the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, this guy's 42 flipping years old, okay? 42 years old. So needless to say, this guy had at least probably 10 more years to play in the NFL and you know, a ton of years to be a starter, and he could have made a ridiculous amount of money, and he went ahead and retired, okay? So basically the owner of the team, Jim Irsay, said basically this, he quote, "It's a tough thing. Look at it. He's leaving $450 million to $500 million on the table potentially," Irsay said Saturday night. I mean, $500 million. And he's saying, you know what? I want to have my integrity. I have to be able to look at my other players and my teammates and my coach in the eye and say I'm all in, and he didn't feel like he could do that, okay? That is a ridiculous amount of money he could have potentially earned throughout the rest of his career, assuming he would play like another 10 to 12 years or something like that, which is very like normal nowadays in the NFL for the quarterback position. People play in their late 30s or early 40s, okay? And so one thing I will say is good, that basically the Colts, the organization he played for, they could have also clawed back nearly $25 million they gave him, okay? So despite the fact that they could have recouped $24.8 million from their former quarterback, the Colts have already reached a financial settlement with Andrew Luck in which they will not take back any of the money they are owed. So essentially, this guy, by retiring, took a massive, massive risk, right? He, could have basically had that $25 million like taken away from him that was already paid out to him because he was under contract, okay? And basically, if he broke that contract, he had to pay this $25 million back. They said, you know what, just keep the money, okay? So that's pretty sick in itself. But needless to say, that was a risk he was willing to take with this retirement. And on top of that, nearly $500 million, guys. This is an insane amount of money. Like even after taxes are taken out, there'd be over $250 million plus we're talking about that he just said, you know what, I don't want it. I don't want to play anymore, okay? Now, if you're wondering why this guy went ahead and retired and called it quits, well, he had a lot going on, needless to say, okay? This was a physical toll on Andrew Luck throughout his 6 NFL seasons. He had a torn cartilage in 2 ribs. He had a partially torn abdomen. He had a lacerated kidney that left him peeing blood at one point. He had at least 1 concussion with these players in the NFL. You never really know how many concussions they had. They could have had a ton of concussions, but he had at least 1 that people actually knew about, okay? He had a torn labrum in his throwing shoulder, and he also had some type of calf ankle issue that was going on recently that basically allowed him not even to play, okay? So I think this is really, really interesting to kind of talk about here on the channel. As this is a money channel and we talk about money all the time and like building wealth and these type of things, I gotta ask you, would you do it? Would you do it for $450 million? Would you go through that toll for $450 $450 million. Now, some of you guys watching this video right now have net worths of less than $10,000. Some of you guys watching this video probably got $100 in your bank account or $500, and you're thinking, dude, for $450 million, like I could lose like a leg or something like that for $450 million. Like some of you guys are like, that's ridiculous. No matter what, I'm playing for $450 million. And I can completely understand that, okay? And a lot of you guys with even, good amounts of money that might be watching this video, you might have 100,000 or maybe even $1 million, and you might be watching this video and like, dude, I would still go through all that for $450 mil. Respect. But here's, what about this situation, okay? What if you were already rich, okay? What if you already had millions upon millions of dollars, okay? Andrew Luck is worth somewhere between $50 to $100 million as of right now, okay? Now, what if you were in that situation? What if you were already worth $50 to $100 million? Would you then make the decision to go through that and the potential pain and like all the mental stress around it and whatnot for the next 10 to 12 years? Would you then make that decision because the $400 million was worth it to you, okay? Is that worth it? Is that worth it, okay? And so, in my opinion here, this doesn't get talked about enough, okay? Sometimes people, ask me like, well, what's the point of having so much money, or what's the point of trying to have millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars or hundreds of millions or something like that, okay? To me, what Andrew Luck did is what having a lot of money is all about, okay? Basically being able to make your own moves, and the move he made is like boss move like level 1000, okay? This is what it's all about, being able to make your own decisions and make your own moves out there, because what we find, way too often is people have to make decisions because they don't have a lot of money, right? And so they have to make a tough decision to do this or do that, or forced to almost force themselves to do this or do a certain kind of job because they don't have that type of money, okay? But what having a lot of money is all about, to me at least, so when I look at it, it's not about buying the newest Lamborghini. It's not about buying the biggest house in the street. It's not about having a private jet or having the biggest yacht or something like that. To me, having a lot of money is just being able to make your own moves. And if you're in a position where you've already got a lot of money and you say, dude, I don't want to go after this extra, $500 million because I want to do something else with my life, or I don't want to go through the mental stress of that or the physical pain in this situation that he was going through, which also took a mental toll. Like that to me was like the coolest thing. And I think that exemplifies what having a lot of money is about. I think too often people get it confused. Too often people get it twisted. And they think it's all about having the biggest necklace or the newest fanciest watch or something like that. And to me, when I really think about it, when I kind of think about myself or other people and I'm like, what's the goal of having a lot of money? What's the goal of having $10 million in the stock market or something like that, right? The reason to have that is so you can make your own moves and you're not forced into doing things that you don't want to do, because when you don't have a lot of money, you're forced into doing things you don't want to do. But when you have a lot of money, you can turn down 250 guaranteed million that he would have made, if not $500 million. You can turn that down. While other people out there would look at that and they're like, dude, are you flipping my cowboy hat? You got to be kidding me. I would not do that, man. I would not. I would have to play. I don't care, man. Even if for $10 million, I would play and go through all the pain and whatnot. And respect. But that's just usually someone that's coming from a situation where they don't have the money yet. If you have the money, you can make your own decision. If he wanted to make the decision to go through the pain and the mental stress and all that, those sorts of things, and make that $500 million, that's great. That's his move. But that's what it's all about, is being able to make your own moves and do your own things and make your own decisions on whatever is best for you and those around you and whatnot. So to me, this was a perfect example that I thought was so worth talking about, because just way too many people have it twisted on getting a lot of money, and they think get a lot of money, buy material possessions, and have a lot of material possessions, and that equals happiness or something like that. And it really doesn't, right? You have a lot of money so you can make your own decisions. Material things aren't going to bring any sort of long-term happiness. Maybe it brings you happiness for 10 minutes or something like that, but it doesn't bring you any type of long-term happiness. Long-term happiness to me is being able to make your own decisions and do what you want to do when you want to do things, and make moves because you want to do it, not because you're in a money situation where you're forced. you're forced to do something, okay? So like this is like, I was like, this is so perfect to talk about on the channel today, guys. Hit a thumbs up if you agree with me on you know, what money kind of represents and being able to do your own things and make your own decisions and be your own boss and things like that and not be forced into situations because you don't have money. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. As always, make sure you share it with somebody that might be an NFL fan, or even maybe somebody that's not an NFL fan, but you know, they might find this subject interesting, guys. I would love to see some of you share this around and whatnot, all right? Thank you for watching and have a great day.